The Book of Genesis, a deeper analysis author. The Book of Genesis is traditionally attributed to Moses. As part of the Torah, Pentateuch, Genesis introduces the origins of humanity, sin, and God's covenant with his chosen people. While modern scholarship debates its composition, biblical references, e.g. Exodus 17:14, Luke 24:27, support Moses as the inspired author. Principal theme. The central theme of Genesis is creation, fall, and covenant. It reveals God as the creator of the universe, mankind's tragic fall into sin, and God's redemptive plan through a chosen family that will ultimately bless all nations. Genesis demonstrates God's sovereignty, justice, and mercy as he unfolds his eternal plan. Keyword beginnings is the key word in Genesis, derived from the Hebrew title Bereshit, meaning in the beginning. This word highlights the start of creation, humanity, sin, and God's covenant relationship. The promised Messiah. From the earliest chapters, Genesis reveals God's plan for redemption through a promised Savior. Key prophetic references include Genesis 3:15, known as the Proto-Evangelium, First Gospel. God declares to the serpent, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." This prophecy points to Jesus Christ's victory over Satan through his death and resurrection. Genesis 22:18, God's promise to Abraham, "Through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed." This foreshadows Jesus as the ultimate descendant of Abraham, bringing salvation to the world. Viral Strong Message with Verses Genesis offers a powerful message of God's unbreakable promises despite human failure. A central message of trust is seen in Genesis 50:20 when Joseph tells his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." This verse highlights God's ability to turn evil into good, reminding believers that his purposes prevail even through suffering. Principal names and spiritual personalities: Adam and Eve, the first humans created in God's image who fell into sin. Genesis chapter 3. Noah, a man of faith who obeyed God and preserved humanity through the ark. Genesis 6-9. Abraham, the father of faith, whose covenant with God established Israel's destiny. Genesis 12-25. Sarah, a woman of faith who bore Isaac, the child of promise, in her old age. Isaac, Abraham's son, a symbol of God's faithfulness and foreshadowing of Christ's sacrifice. Jacob, Israel. His transformation from deceiver to patriarch reflects God's power to redeem. Joseph, a symbol of Christ in his suffering, exaltation, and role as a deliverer. Lessons of the ages: God's sovereignty in creation. Genesis 1 declares God as the creator, speaking order out of chaos. This foundational truth underscores his power and intentional design. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 1:1. The consequences of sin. The fall, Genesis 3, reveals the devastating impact of disobedience. Yet God's promise of redemption emerges immediately. Faith and obedience. Abraham's willingness to sacrifice Isaac, Genesis 22, demonstrates trust in God's provision. The Lord will provide. Genesis 22:14. God's redemptive plan. Joseph's journey from slavery to leadership in Egypt illustrates how God orchestrates events for his divine purposes. The power of covenant. God's covenant with Abraham, Genesis 15, reveals his commitment to fulfill his promises despite human frailty. Conclusion. Genesis lays the foundation for the entire biblical narrative, introducing God's creation, mankind's rebellion, and his unfolding plan of redemption. Its timeless themes, trust, forgiveness, and covenant, resonate throughout history. By studying Genesis, believers are reminded that God's promises endure, his plans are unstoppable, and his love redeems even the darkest moments. The book of Genesis remains a powerful testament to God's unwavering faithfulness and his ultimate purpose to restore humanity through Jesus Christ.